PowerPoint. Since the mid-1990s, this powerful software has brought meetings to life and made presentations enjoyable and informative for anyone lucky enough to be in attendance. Or at least that's how it was supposed to work. In practice, however, we've all seen presentations that are excessively wordy, use incomprehensible diagrams, and are incomprehensible and ugly. Yikes! You see, the vision was that if you needed to deliver training or provide information to a group of people, you made a PowerPoint. Then, you presented the PowerPoint to your audience, and you met your learning objectives. The reality, however, was somewhat different. People loaded up their slides with lots of text, which they then read to their audience. Learning objectives were not met because audience members were bored and distracted. The problem is not with the software itself. PowerPoint is incredibly robust and versatile. And keep in mind what PowerPoint is actually designed to do. It's not meant to be a documentation source with lots of words. That's what you'd use, well, Word for. Rather, PowerPoint is a tool that connects graphics with words, which a presenter then expands upon. An effective PowerPoint uses quality graphics that are relevant to the presentation. Words are sparse, making it easy to read quickly, understand, and remember. And the presenter expands upon what's on the screen, which is far more engaging to an audience than just reading lots of text. By contrast, an ineffective PowerPoint has no graphics, or irrelevant or low-quality graphics. Slides are often crammed full of words, as if they were part of a manual. Worse still, the presenter then reads the slides, which has much the same effect as a bedtime story. Earlier, we saw examples of poorly made PowerPoints, but what makes a really good PowerPoint? There are a few things, all of which are underpinned by this simple idea. Make it easy for your audience to understand and remember what you want them to know. This can be accomplished by applying these rules. Number 1. Keep it concise. Your attendees have made a sacrifice to attend your meeting, namely, their time. They have come to your presentation to get useful information. If you've ever had to sit through a boring presentation filled with unnecessary information, you know you don't want to make a presentation like that yourself. Second, don't make it ugly. You don't have to be a graphic designer to make an attractive PowerPoint. Jhpiego provides PowerPoint templates, which you should use for your presentations. As for graphics, remember to make them relevant to the presentation and of acceptable quality. Third, add value when you present. In your presentation, most of the words should come from the presenter, not the slides. So, don't use more than 3 bullets per slide. Any more than that, and your audience is unlikely to remember them anyway. As a presenter, you are expected to provide further detail about what the audience sees on the screen. This can include drill-down information, stories, or lessons learned. Let's look at an example. Jhpiego brings solutions to the front line by employing an education and training strategy for healthcare workers in the field. Now, we could communicate that with a slide like this, which a presenter would read to the audience, but we wouldn't. Instead, we would use a relevant, compelling graphic and then let the presenter go into detail about what bringing solutions to the front line actually means.
This presentation is about how we will bring solutions to the people rather than bringing people to the solution.
Now let's talk a little about colors. As a rule, you should use very few colors per slide, and they should work well together. In our current example, we've just used a blank slide, but we could use a Jhpiego template like this one. And then, if we wanted to, we could adjust the color of our text to match any of the colors used in the template: the blue, the green, or the orange. But to keep it simple, you really can't go wrong by using black or dark gray text on a white background. That said, here's what you don't want to do. Here we see a process depicted using PowerPoint's built-in Smart Art. For some reason, the default colors are what you see here. Now we could change these to match the colors in the Jhpiego template. The blue is a little stark in the diagram. The green seems to work a little better. We could also change it to this style using blue, green, or dark gray. Although this process is accurate, the diagram doesn't look the best. So, what if we just skip the diagram altogether and instead walk the audience through the process? Now, we could just list out the steps and then describe what happens in each one, but it's helpful to also add a visual so the audience can see what we're talking about. There, that's better. We can also limit what the audience sees to the step we're on so they won't be reading ahead while we're talking. We would have Step 1, Step 2, and Step 3. During each step, you can expand upon anything audience members may need to know about that part of the process. In the end, they'd see all the steps on one slide, which is useful if they want to refer to that slide later for a reference guide. You can add a visual cue which tells your audience the process you're describing is complete. It can also help them to quickly locate what they need later from their handouts. Finally, remember that your audience may later want to refer back to what you presented. If all you have is slides with sparse text and a few graphics, they might be missing out on important information. To address this issue, it's important to also provide learners with a reference guide. This can be done by adding speaker notes in the Notes section of each slide. Participants can then print out your presentation to a paper document or a PDF online, and the speaker notes will be right there next to each slide. Alternatively, you can create a Word document that contains all the information your audience needs regarding what your presentation is about. Note that this presentation is not meant to be an advanced course in PowerPoint or graphic design. However, there is a wealth of free information available online. Just search online for PowerPoint Design or Learn PowerPoint to find what you need. To sum up, keep these points in mind when it's time to make your next PowerPoint presentation. Make it easy for your audience to understand and remember what you want them to know. Keep it concise. Don't have more than 2 or 3 points per slide. Don't make it ugly. Use a Japigo template and only relevant, good quality graphics. Add value when you present. Give attendees information beyond what's on the slide that references the slide's main points. And provide a reference guide. This can be speaker notes included in the PowerPoint itself, or you can create a separate Word document.